I've been searching far and wide for love that could only be found in you. Perfect always is your unfailing love. It's all in you, my Jesus.
Hi my loves, welcome back to the channel. On this video I will be teaching you guys how to make this very beautiful bubu dress. The inspo is from former Ivy on Instagram. Okay, I got the inspiration from her dress and I decided to recreate it because very soon I'm going to my village to collect chieftaincy tithe. So yes, this video is very detailed. If you're interested, keep watching, and if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe, like, share, and let's get into the video. For this tutorial, we'll be using this brocade fabric. It's about 3.5 yards, and I'm using 3.5 yards because I'm 5 feet 9 tall. So if you are taller than that, or you are a plus size, or you're a beginner, I'll advise you should use 4 yards. I have my thread to match, and let's get right into the tutorial. One of the very important things you have to when folding this fabric, okay? Let me bring it to the back. When you open up your fabric, this is what it looks like, okay? So this is the breadth, this is the breadth, okay? This is the breadth side, and this part that has the border is the length side, right? So now we are going to fold it into two. So this point, this breadth, we are going to be folding it this way. Now that I have folded it into two, this way. Not sure that. Okay. Okay, now that we have folded it into two, we have this place as a fold here. Now we have this point as a fold, and it's going to be looking like this. Now I'm going to take the rest of my fabric and I'm going to fold it over. Okay, now I've folded it over. This is what I have. Okay, this part as a fold. Okay, it's not open, and I have this part also as a fold, and this is all the length that I have. Now I left this part because it's not needed, and I'll be using it later. Now this side is where all the measurement comes in. Okay, so the first thing I'll be marking is my neck width, and for my neck I'll be going in by 3.5 inches. Okay, and I'll be marking that point. Then I'm going to divide my back shoulder by 2, which is 7.5, and I'm going to place it there and mark it as well. Then I'll be coming out by 4 inches, which is going to serve as the pleat. Okay, because that pleat we have on the shoulder is going to be a 4-inch pleat, so I came out by 4 inches, right? So now we have the first line as my neck breadth. I will be making a curve there, the next one as my shoulder, and then the next one as the pleats. Okay, that will be adding there. So the next thing I'm going to be adding is going to be my sleeve length, and for my sleeve I want it to be about 11 inches long. So this is going to be my sleeve. Notice that I'm placing my tape after that pleat point that I made. Okay, and I'm going to be folding in that border area later. So I left about 2 inches there. I'll be folding it in to make the bob sleeve that we saw on the inspo dress. Okay, now the next thing I'll be doing is to come down from the shoulder line by 1 inch, and I'll be making a curve like this. So the next point is our shoulder line. We are going to ignore it. The next point is the pleat, and the next point is the sleeve. Now at the end of the sleeve like this, I'll be coming down by 12 inches. Okay, this 12 inches is going to be like space that we're going to be passing our hand from our armhole. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to come down and mark our hip point at 24 and our knee point at 36. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark out our full length. After marking out our full length, on that hip line I'm going to place our hip round measurement divided by 4. Okay, my hip is the widest place on my body, so that's why I'm using my hip. So I'm going to place my hip round measurement divided by 4, and I'll be adding 4 inches ease allowance, and then I'll be adding 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, from that 1 inch sewing allowance I'm going to make a curve. Okay, let me shift this fabric. I'm going to make a curve from that allowance into the armhole. Okay, this is what we call our curve. So it can be either this way, you can make a curve this way or this way, depending on how you want yours to look. So I prefer making the curve like this, so it will give that cuff effect by the side. Now that I've measured from the armhole to the hip, I'm going to place the same measurement I have on the hip on my knee length, and I'm going to draw a straight line from that point all the way to the full length. I'm going to quickly cut this out, and then I'll make every necessary adjustment to fit into the style of the dress. Now after cutting it, this is what we have. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and open up my dress. We have both the front and the back together. I'm going to go ahead and open it up so I'll be able to make adjustments for the front and for the back. So to open it up, I'm going to first of all notch that shoulder area so that I don't mistake. Just notch that shoulder area, okay? And then I'm going to open it up like this. So now you see the shoulder points are meeting each other. I'm just going to fold it this way, making sure that the armhole is meeting up, making sure that everything is aligning. Now the next thing I'm going to do is from this neckline, I'll be marking 1 inch all the way to the full length of this dress. And after marking it, I'll be joining it with a straight line like so. Okay, now I'm also going to adjust the neckline to fit into that 1 inch mark that I made there. So for that neckline, I'll be coming down by 2.5 inch. That's to make it 3.5 inch for the front, and I'll be joining it like so. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut out my pattern for the front pieces. Now after cutting it out, this is what I have. Okay, this is what the neckline is looking like. Okay, and if you place it properly the way it's supposed to be, let me fold it so you guys will see what I'm doing. Now that I've placed it the way it's supposed to come out in our body, this is what it looks like, and you can see we have a space between the two sides of the front. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure, and I'll be measuring to be able to cut out the band that will be filling up that space. Okay, now to measure for the band, I'm not going to start from the tip of the fabric. I'm going to come up with about 1 inch because I'll be hemming the dress. Okay, so I'm going to come up with about 1 inch, and I'm going to measure all the way around. So what I'm measuring, I started from one end of the front, and I'm going to keep placing my tape all the way around. When we have about 60 inches, I'm going to place my tape at that point and continue measuring again to get the round measurement. Then I'm going to pass it through the back neckline, bring it over to the other side of the front neckline, and continue measuring. Okay, my tape has finished twice now, so we have 120 inches. Now I'm still going to place my tape at that point, and I'll measure all the way down, leaving out about 1 inch. So what we have there is about 20 inches. 120 plus 20, we have about 140. So I'm going to be cutting out a piece that is going to serve as the band that I will be using for that needle. So I went ahead to fold my fabric into two so that it will be easier to cut. Remember that the length you are working with is 140 inches. I'm going to be using a 4 inches band so that when you flip it, it's going to be 2 inches. Okay, when you fold it, it's going to be 2 inches. So I'm going to be marking at 5 inches, and the extra that we have there is to serve as our joining allowance. Okay, so I'm going to mark 5 inches from the start of this band to the end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Now after cutting it out, my band is shorter than what I would be using, so I went ahead to cut out extra pieces to join to the length of the band so that it will be up to that 140 inches that we measured out initially. So after cutting that out, I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the band so that the length will be up to 140 inches. Okay, this is the point that I attached it. I'm going to go ahead and fold our band. Now I'm folding it the front side facing each other, and I'll be stitching about ½ inch at this point, and I'll also fold the other end and stitch about ½ inch at that point. After doing that, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and close up the rough edges. I will be interlocking the band and the fabric as well. This is a brocade fabric, so it's very important to interlock it, or better still, you work with a soldering iron. Now that I'm done interlocking, I'm going to start placing every other measurement. So from the shoulder, I'm going to be marking where I want my pleats to stop. Okay, I don't want it to get to the hip line. I want it to be after the bust point, but I don't want it to get to the hip line. I'm going to be marking at point 19. Okay, I think that's a fair midpoint. So this point is where my pleat is going to be ending. Now from the neckline, I'm going to be coming out, because we already have 3.5. The rest of the shoulder should be about 4 inches, but I don't want my pleats to be falling off the shoulder, so I'm going to be marking at 3.5 inches, and from that point I'm going to mark at 4 inches. So that's that pleat that we added when we were cutting. So I'm going to simply just pick the point like so. Okay, making sure that the 4-inch point is touching each other. I'm going to pick the point like so, and I'm going to pin that down. Now after pinning it down, I'm going to go ahead and fold in that 4-inch all the way to that point where I want my pleat to stop, and pin it down. I'm also going to open up my fabric and pin all the way to the back of the dress as well. So I will be repeating the same thing for this other side. I marked at 3.5 inches, and from that shoulder point I marked out 4 inches for my pleat. I marked out about 19 inches where I want the pleat to stop, and I went ahead to make my 4-inch pleat. Okay, now I'm going to take this to my machine, and I'll be stitching on that line like so. After stitching on that point, this is what we have. You see that our pleat is coming together. Okay, now for the full length, I'm going to go ahead and hem it, and after hemming it, I'm going to be attaching this band all the way round through the neckline and all the way to the other side of the front. Now after doing that, this is what I have. Now the next thing is to interlock the band. Okay, so I'm going to be marking the point where I want my slit in front to start, and I'll be pinning it down. I want it to start somewhere above the knee, so I'm just going to pin that point down. Okay, and then I'm going to be placing the band over the other one like this, as you are seeing me doing on your screen right now. I'm going to be pinning that down as well. Okay, you want to leave enough space for your head to pass through, okay, when you're pinning it down. So after pinning that point, I'm going to take this to my machine, and I'll be making a very tiny stitch along both sides of this band. Okay, and after doing that, this is what I have. I'm going to be using pressing button at that point. Okay, I didn't stitch it down so that my head will be able to pass through that area. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to make channels for where my elastic will be passing through. So I'll be folding in that point, and I'll be passing my elastic through that point. Okay, now after doing that on the sleeve, this is what we have. The next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and shape the sides of this dress. Okay, and I'll be shaping with about 1 inch, because that was the stitching allowance that we added. And after doing that, this is the final look. I hope this tutorial was detailed enough. Okay, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
I've been searching far and wide for love that could only be found in you. Perfect always is your unfailing love. It's all in you, my Jesus. Never changing, never fading.